Hello, Sober Army. How are you? This is Craig Beck, aka the Stop Drinking Expert and the author of Alcohol Lied to Me, a book that has helped hundreds of thousands of people to quit drinking without any gimmicks, without any willpower, without any embarrassing group meetings, any of that nonsense. And I'm not here to shill it to you. I'm here to give it to you for free. If you want a copy, go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com. If you've already read it, I want to tell you about a new book that I have out now, which is called The Sobriety Secret. I think it's good. I think it helps. So if you want to check it out, it's on Amazon. You can get it as a Kindle download, paperback, hardback, and audiobook. Amazon.com, amazon.co.uk. Go and check it out, The Sobriety Secret. All right. Okay, let's dig in. Let's talk today about one of the most common search phrases that people worried about their drinking type into Google, type into AI. What are people looking for when they start to get that uneasy feeling, that the narrative they've been telling themselves for many years, that they're just a social drinker, that they can stop anytime they like, they don't drink in the morning, therefore they don't have a problem, blah, 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 blah. There comes a point where you start to doubt that. You start to think, it's starting not to be that believable. And that sometimes happens for various reasons. One of them is what I call threshold moments. Threshold moments are painful events that completely distort your view of reality. All right. So we spend our whole lives trying to avoid pain and gain pleasure. Everything we do as human beings is around those two motivating factors: avoiding pain, gaining pleasure. And we tell ourselves stories to preserve that balance. All right. So let's say you're overweight and you're unhappy about it. Yeah. So you've got a choice here, haven't you? You can go on a diet and fix the problem, or you can find a way of getting away from the pain. And because we're humans, we'll always tend to lean towards the path of least resistance. So the path of least resistance here is to tell yourself a story that makes you feel better about it. I'm not that fat. Most of my friends are bigger than me. I'm big boned. I've always been big. I've got a lot of muscle. I'm a strong person. We can tell ourselves stories to try and make the pain go away. And we do that a lot because it's just human nature. Rarely do we say, no, I'm going to take the painful route, the difficult route. I'm going to work through this. I know it's going to be hard, but if I do push through the pain, if I push through my comfort zone, I'm going to end up on the other side and I will be happy. But rarely we do that. So the same is true with alcohol. We have this niggling doubt that we're not really in control anymore. But then we start to build plausible deniability. We might ask our friends, hey, how much do you drink? And we'll filter that information. We'll apply a bit of confirmation bias to it, and we'll quite quickly arrive at the conclusion that, yeah, we drink a lot, but most people drink more. So therefore, we're not that bad. And you'll do very specific searches on the internet, signs of being an alcoholic, missing work, ending up in the drunk tank, drinking first thing in the morning, getting arrested, letting down family, failing to secure a job. And for most functional drinkers, they'll look at their life and they'll go, well, okay, I don't drink in the morning. I've never been arrested. I've never been given a DUI. I've got a job. I've got a family. I've got a car. Hey, I must be okay. All right. So that's the example of how we kind of delude ourselves just as a way of assuaging that sense of pain that we want to escape. But then you get to the point where that story you've told yourself is starting to feel a bit flimsy. You're starting to doubt it. And then you go to Google and you start typing things in like, how much is too much? And how often do you have to drink to be a problem drinker or to be an alcoholic? And one of the key phrases that people put into Google, to search engines, to AI, is signs of alcohol addiction. And that is where we are at today. What are the signs that you have moved from being a social drinker to being someone who is psychologically or physically addicted to alcohol? Now, most people I deal with are not physically addicted. They are psychologically addicted. And there is a difference. Physically addicted means that your body has become so accustomed and has adapted so routinely to there being poison continuously in your system that it can now no longer operate without the poison. Your body has basically pressed the emergency button and said, okay, we now live in a world that is poisonous. So we have to adapt to living in a poisonous world. If you then suddenly remove the poison, your whole environment changes dramatically. And it would be like taking a polar bear and put him in the middle of the Sahara. It's just your body can't cope with that dramatic of a shock. Now, most people I deal with are psychologically addicted, as in there's a problem in their life, there's some pain in their life, there's some misery, and alcohol has offered itself as a Band-Aid, as a sticking plaster solution. And it's different for everyone, depression, anxiety, abusive relationships, trauma from childhood, lack of purpose, being in a terrible job, financial problems. The list goes on and on. But basically, at the core of alcohol is a pain point, is a point of misery. And the drug pops up and says, hey, that financial worry you've got, I can make that go away. Just drink this anesthetic. And you drink it and you go, oh, yeah, I'm not so bothered about it anymore. That's amazing. You repeat that over and over again, and you end up with a psychological addiction to alcohol. Because now your solution to your financial problems is alcohol, which is not a solution. It just compounds the problem. So you're trapped in a loop. So what are the signs of alcohol addiction? Well, firstly, it's about control. Can you just have one drink? Are you fine with one drink? Or does one drink drive you crazy? If you try and have one, does the rest of your evening revolve around thinking about another one or white knuckling to stay away from having another one? Another sign of alcohol addiction is repeated behavior. With me, at my peak of my drinking, it was like a decade-long loop. And it would go like this. I would come home from work. I would drink a couple of bottles of wine. I'd wake up feeling terrible. And I would say to myself, that's it. Enough. Enough of this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not drinking tonight. And of course, 6:00 that night, I'm opening the first bottle of wine. Repeat 24 hours later. I'm enough. I'm not doing this anymore. And this loop. So if you can recognize loops in your life where alcohol is the catalyst of the loop, then you have a problem with alcohol. The other thing is you've got to be aware of your decision making. Are you making decisions based on what alcohol wants, or are you making decisions based on what's best for you and your family? And be honest with yourself. Because more and more, you're going to find that you're going to choose the path that alcohol wants you to take. Your kids are going to say, Dad, or Mom, this weekend, can we go here? And you're going to think, if we go there, I can't drink and I've got to drive. Oh, let's try and talk the kids into doing this because I know I can drink there. So instead of giving the kids what they want, you persuade them to go to the pub, which has a playground outside. Be honest with yourself. Are you making decisions like that? Your wife or your husband wants to go somewhere at the weekend or on an evening, and you know that activity doesn't involve a lot of alcohol. Are you thinking what's best for them? Or are you trying to manipulate their behavior to do what you want to do and to do a compromise that involves you drinking? That's a sign you've got a problem with alcohol. Letting people down, and you'll know you've done this because it breaks your moral code, It can be just little things, just not doing what you said, being late, not following through, not being there for other people because you chose alcohol, whether it was the night before or in the moment. You chose alcohol over your commitments. It's a sign you've got a drinking problem. Then there's something called TAT, tired all the time. Are you tired all the time? Because that can be a sign of an alcohol problem, because a lot of people believe that alcohol helps them sleep, which is not true. Alcohol puts you to sleep like an anesthetic, but it doesn't provide genuine restorative sleep cycles. In fact, you can prove this to yourself. Drink a load of alcohol, wear an Apple Watch or some smart gadget, and get it to track your sleep cycle. I guarantee you, the night you slept while you drank heavily, your REM sleep cycle will be very poor. Your depth cycle will be very shallow. Your sleep will be restless, and you will get a poor quality score for the quality of your sleep. Compare that to a sober night, and it will be, forgive the pun, night and day. It will be completely different. So if you're tired all the time, then the narrative you might tell yourself is, well, work's really stressful. We're really working hard at the moment. The truth is, you never get a decent night's sleep because your body spends the whole night processing poison out of your body via your liver, from ethanol into acetaldehyde and then out of your body. So you're never really resting. So that's a sign that you have alcohol addiction as well. And the list goes on. The list goes on. And part of the problem here, and the reason why people have to type into search engines signs of alcohol addiction, is because true alcohol addiction doesn't really look like what the media and Hollywood says it should. Alcoholics are these disheveled, crashed out, bottom of the barrel, broken people. They can't hold down a job. They can't hold down a family. They're just a mess. They're sitting in a park drinking whiskey out of a brown paper bag. That's how Hollywood depicts alcoholics. And most problem drinkers who I work with look at their life and go, well, that's not my life. So, how do I know if I have a problem? Because I don't look like that. And the truth is, and what I'm going to leave you with in this episode is, alcohol is smart enough that it doesn't really want to take you to that stereotypical image. Doesn't want to take you that far. Because if it takes you that far, there'll be enough pain that you'll get enough leverage that you'll do something about it. It doesn't want you to do something about it. So what alcohol is very good at doing is taking you to a place of mediocre and suspending you there. It will resist taking you to the bottom. It wants to hold you in a place of mediocrity, where life is not terrible, but it's not great. It's not good. This is not what you thought life would be. It's a struggle. It's hard. Your money's tight. Relationships are not good. The job sucks. You're tired all the time. Your health's going bad. Oh, God, I'm sick of this. That's the kind of mentality of problem drinking and alcohol addiction. And what alcohol wants to do is suspend you in mediocre until it can kill you. That's its goal. So it wants you dead 10, 20, 30 years before you're due, but it's patient. It's willing to sit there and watch you do it slowly. So if any of that rings true, then I encourage you to take action. If you want, just go to the website, get the free book, start with the course, get the new book on Amazon if you want, The Sobriety Secret. It's also on Audible as well. But whatever you do, whether it's with me or someone else, do something, because I can tell you that problems with alcohol never get better on their own. They only get worse. That is the nature of the drug. Thanks for being with me. If you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll do my best to give you an answer, and I'll see you soon.